So yeah, a dream coming true for Caitlin Clark, and we've already talked a little bit about that. But Caitlin Clark is here having met up with Serena Williams. A month ago, Caitlin Clark said Serena Williams would be her dream dinner guest, and I'm guessing a month later, now that is, I'm guessing a month later that's happened. That would be my expectation from this. I would assume that has already happened. But we got to just talk about a wider topic. And it's funny when you're looking at Caitlin Clark, you're seeing her being embraced by the NFL, which is what both of these players were. They were at an NFL conference and they brought both, it's NFL Women's Sports Conference, and they brought Serena Williams and they brought Caitlin Clark there. And it is always a funny one because you're seeing all these other leagues, whether it be golf, whether it be the NWSL, whether it be like the NFL itself, very much hyped on Caitlin Clark, but the WNBA just don't seem to want to do that. And it is funny because it seems like the successful sports leagues, like the leagues that are having growth, the leagues that are making money, like all of these leagues are really wanting to kind of jump on the Caitlin Clark hype train. So it seems that the people, the former players, or a lot of the all-time greats, like we've seen, like Cheryl Miller with Cynthia Cooper. You've seen most of the all-time WNBA greats are all for jumping on the hype train. Sue Bird, like, as whether you like her or not, like Megan Rapinoe is one of the all-time great soccer players. She's jumping on the hype train. Heck, as much as Diana Taurasi was saying what she said last year, you could see Diana Taurasi embraced Caitlin Clark. You can see all of that. And obviously, you've got certain WNBA players that aren't at the stratosphere of these. Certain sports people aren't at the stratosphere of these people that are going on the attack against Caitlin Clark. And it's such a weird one, the WNBA. And I genuinely think that if this was a couple of years ago, when Diana Taurasi, let's just say, look, Diana Taurasi is the fiercest competitor ever. So I don't think when it comes from a competition standpoint that Taurasi wouldn't be the most competitive person that Caitlin Clark is again, or competitive person to face Caitlin Clark. But I still think there would be like almost a level of respect there. And it's such a weird thing when it comes to it. When it comes to the current WNBA players. In a lot of cases, I don't think there's a level of respect there. Regardless of the on-the-court stuff of Caitlin Clark, it does not seem like, whether it be the WNBA media, whether it be the WNBA players, it doesn't seem like there is that level of respect there. And I think if there was that level of respect there, I think those WNBA media members would have been all fired. The ones who were talking about the ominous thing with the Indiana Fever, any person who stated, like, it would be in any prominent sports league, any person who stated the most popular player in their league doesn't deserve their popularity and only got it because of their race would literally have their maybe not have their credentials entirely removed, but they would never get opportunities. And it seems to be in the WNBA, if you make that suggestion, you get even more opportunities. Because my favorite thing about that is, look, it's not true. It's genuinely not true. I think there was a group of people that weren't basketball fans that latched on to Caitlin Clark as a way to spew hate towards other group of people, just like there were a group of people that latched on towards Angel Reese to spew hate against people they didn't like. But I also think that group of people don't watch the games of either of the players. I don't think they're fans of either of the players. I don't think they're watching any of the games. I don't think they're basketball fans. And I think when it comes to the actual basketball fans, like, if you want to say, oh, a lot of people related to Caitlin Clark because, well, she's from the Midwest, she stayed at home, she built up a program in Iowa and all this type of stuff. The state of Iowa resonates with her. That is a completely different thing than saying, like, that is, again, the underdog story rather than, making it into something absolutely crazy. Rather than jumping to a complete different conclusion there. But even still, if your job is to promote the league, you shouldn't be allowed, not even you shouldn't be allowed, but you shouldn't mention this. Like, if your job is to promote the league, you should be, any suggestion, even any suggestion that that's why Caitlin Clark is popular, you should be fighting back on that. And just like the GOATs, whether it be Serena Williams coming out and saying people are negative, it's because they can't do what you do about Caitlin Clark. Whether it be a lot of these top players, top former players, especially in other sports. Like you see all of that. And you see the people from that have been parts of more successful sports or that have transcended their sports understand this phenomenon exactly. They understand what this is what's happening with this. And they understand it in a way that we're just gonna hype up the Caitlin Clark. We're gonna do what's good for women's basketball. And it's funny because the people that were already in women's basketball are the only reason that it won't grow. And it's great to see this. It's great to see Caitlin being embraced. And it was funny at the All-Star weekend. The vast majority of the top players in the world, you could see them embracing Caitlin. You could see, obviously, like Sophie Cunningham drunk trying to recruit Caitlin last season. Who would have guessed she'd be on the fever this year? Like, so many different things were happening around the time of the All-Star break. And it was a really good kind of time because all of that narrative just kind of stopped. All of the BS narrative stopped. And, you know, these WNBA writers have nothing to talk about. So they're going to continue to spew absolute nonsense. And thankfully they are. For me, they're spewing absolute nonsense because as a WNBA content creator, a lot of the time I don't have things to talk about. But as long as they keep spewing nonsense, just like the old ominous crowd. But we also can't forget that the damn best player, the MVP of the league, said she was scared to play in Indiana because it was going to pop off. She felt that she wasn't going to be safe in Indiana. And that, for me, is where I think a lot of it comes from, is that a lot of the current players, because if you guys don't know, like the WNBA wasn't always a shit show like it is now. Or not even like it was 5 years ago. The post-pandemic WNBA was a disaster for a couple of years. But we also can't forget, like, in the year of Cheryl Swoop, Cynthia Cooper, Lauren Jackson, like, it was booming. It was booming in comparison to what it was later. And then if you were Diana Taurasi, you were making millions in Russia, so there was no need to be too upset about how the league is because she's a multi-millionaire. The likes of Sue Bird, Candace Parker were making serious money. But even with all of them, like obviously later on, the mid-2010s, it wasn't in a great place. And it just seems like the league losing all relevance kind of emboldened people that were around it and had nothing to do with basketball and them getting into positions in the media and of voices where realistically they should have never been. It was just the league was small enough that they were going for jobs and there was maybe the only person applying for certain jobs. And now, all of a sudden, people that maybe shouldn't have been in the positions where they were in have way more eyes on them, and the issues with them doing what they're doing is now more apparent. But it is clear, and it's becoming more and more obvious. And look, we can say whatever we want about what the WNBA are trying to push, what certain networks are trying to push on the WNBA, but it's more and more obvious that you're seeing the top sports people, the most successful people. And it doesn't matter what their background is. It doesn't matter what what sport they were in. It doesn't matter where they were from, what they look like. You can see the people that were at the very top, the people that transcended their sports. Not one of the people that transcended their sport have any issue with Caitlin Clark because they were in a similar position. And obviously, I'm not comparing the stuff Caitlin Clark's had to deal with the stuff Serena Williams had to deal with, because if you just read up the stuff early on in Serena Williams' career, like, stuff she had to deal with was mad. Like, but when you're, as far as the pressure of being a person that transcends the sport, that is something that a lot of these players, whether it be Serena, whether it be LeBron James, whether it be, and you just, I don't want to speak in anyone's name, but you could only imagine, like, how much Kobe Bryant would have appreciated what Caitlin Clark brought. But at the same time, again, that's just an expectation. I don't know the guy. But all of these people that were at the tippity top, And not only at the top of their sports, there's a difference between being at the top of your sport and transcending your sport. LeBron transcended basketball, Curry transcended basketball, Kobe transcended basketball. As great as Shai Gilgeous-Alexander is, he's the top of the sport. He hasn't. There are few sports people in our lifetimes that will transcend a sport. In tennis, in my lifetime, I'm born in 1996, since I remember. There were people at the top like an Agassi, like a Sampras, and maybe for a short time they did, but realistically, Federer, Nadal, Djokovic, and Serena, they were the four that I remember that completely transcended the sport. Jeez, when it came to golf, as much as Rory McIlroy had been at the top for a while, it's Tiger. It's Tiger, and it's only Tiger. When it comes to gymnastics, it's Simone Biles. There's so many great gymnasts. We all know Simone Biles. With sprinting, people just freaking hate Lyles, but people hate Noah Lyles, but both transcended that. And you can see Caitlin Clark is now in a position where she already has transcended basketball through college. And this is something that has not happened in basketball since Steph Curry in 2015. And it's an objectively great thing for the sport, whether or not the WNBA wants to admit it or not. But anyway, I'll see you guys.